In today's video, we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of moving to Florida. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The Sunshine State is our video today. Hey, look, if you're thinking about moving to Florida, you definitely let me know. My name is Jason. I'm with Red State Relocate right here. And hey, look, Florida's a pretty awesome red state, is it not? And isn't it pretty amazing to be able to call Florida a red state now? You know, it wasn't too long ago that Florida was definitely in the swing state, purple state category. And, a lot has changed in the last handful of years here. And you know what? We're going to talk about that because, look, most realtors on YouTube are going to, they're going to shy away from the politics. But look, let's face it, when we're talking about Florida, we're talking about politics. It's the reason why Florida is now on the map. It's the reason why Democrats don't even campaign in Florida anymore, especially for presidential elections, because guess what? They ain't gonna win it. All right, we're gonna get into that. But like I always say, if you're looking to head down that way, you let me know. My name is Jason, Red State Relocate. I work with realtors all across this country, so no matter where you're from, hey, I can help you sell your home and I can help you buy a home. No matter where you are, all right? And look, I'm from California originally, so some of my pros and cons, I'll say, come from that perspective. A lot of Californians, you're heading out to Florida. I actually read earlier, too, that, Californians, we get a bad rap, right? We get a bad rap for moving to all the red states and filling you up. In fact, I just did a video about Texas. I give Texas a little bit of a rash for how they've been treating Californians lately and how they're kind of paying the political price for that now. They did something different, or I'll say Florida did something different than Texas did. And maybe we'll talk about that too. But the majority of people actually that are moving to Florida, unlike a lot of other red states, the majority of people to Florida are actually from the East Coast. They're actually from New York. So I'm sure you Floridians know that already. Look, New Yorkers have been retiring down in Florida for many, many years. But now it's actually working age, tax paying, people with businesses, obviously because of COVID. I had a lot of people move down there. Home prices have gone up a lot. We're going to talk about all those things. So, but I'm just going to do 3 pros and 3 cons. All right. Normally I like to do 5 and 5, but when I do the 5 pros and 5 cons, I end up talking for like an hour. And, I just don't feel like taking that much of your time. But I do appreciate the time you do give me. And hopefully this video is going to bring you some value. All right. So 3 pros, 3 cons. Either way, let's get you to Florida. When you're ready, you let me know. All right. So number 1, of course, like I just said, the number 1 pro, and it's something that most realtors are not going to talk about, and that's the politics. The number 1 is Ron DeSantis. All right, it's Marco Rubio, okay, right? It's Rick Scott. You have 2 Republican senators and a Republican governor. Who would have thought, ladies and gentlemen, 10 years ago, who would have thought that Florida would be as red as it is now? We're talking about the Florida that had the hanging chads in the 2000 election, right? We're talking about the Florida that Ron DeSantis came within 1 percentage point. 1 percentage point of barely beating. Was it Andrew? Is it Andrew Gillum? I remember it was Gillum. Yeah, we know Gillum. I won't mention him. We know what he ended up, not making such a great name for himself. I'll say post-election. But look, during COVID, we know that Florida said, hey, everybody, we're open for business. Come on down. If you're tired of your business being closed down, your kid not being in school, you're just tired of the lockdowns, come on down to Florida. We're a free state. And look, Florida went from being a swing state, purple state. Charlie Crist was one of your. Come on, man, really? Well, you're a long way from there. You know why? Because you welcome people, and the vast majority of people, even those New Yorkers that we talked about that moved to Florida, they were conservative, valued people that ended up voting Republican. The Republican voter swing in Florida just in the last, I believe it's 3 years in this last census they showed. I mentioned this in my Texas video. There's been a 700,000 voter registration swing in favor of Republicans. That was as of last year. And I think it's over 800,000 now. Okay, pre-COVID, Florida had a 200,000 plus Democratic voter advantage. As of now, Florida has over 600,000 plus Republican. That's crazy. That is crazy. Just in the last few years, that huge swing. And I have a graphic. I'll throw it up here for you to see. But that is a massive swing. And you know why? That's because of your political leadership in Florida said, hey, you're welcome here. If you value freedom and you value your business, you value your kids' education, come on down. People listened and they did. And then I'm going to link up my Texas video at the end of this. So stay to the end and I'll show you my Texas video that I just did, where Texas did the opposite. Okay. Texans, we know Texans are have not been, I'll say, the most hospitable to anybody moving to their state, especially Californians. They told Californians, we're closed. We don't want you. Go move somewhere else. So a lot of them moved to Florida. They bypassed Texas. I'm a perfect example of that. I was looking to get out of California during COVID. I was looking at Texas really hard, but I saw the middle fingers and I saw that, you know what, I'm really not going to be welcome there. I didn't want to be ashamed of being from California. I'm a refugee in my own country. And I got these people giving me the finger, telling me they don't want me there. Well, guess what? Millions and millions of people moved to all these other states instead of Texas. And now Texas is looking at having Colin Allred, right? A House representative out of Dallas. He's a Democrat. He's very well liked, very well funded. He is most likely going to beat Ted Cruz in the next election. He's not even, they haven't even had the primary yet, the Democratic primary. And he's already within 2 percentage points of beating Ted Cruz. All right. He's a former NFL football player. Honestly, I think it's a done deal now. And Texans, and like I said, I'm not going to rehash that whole video, but they have no one to blame but themselves because they were not welcoming to people, especially during COVID, to move to their state. They were saying, you know, we don't want you. So guess what? People went elsewhere. They went to states like Florida, and now you have Ron DeSantis just won re-election by was it almost 20 percentage points. I mean, it's amazing. So look, the number one reason is going to be the reason I talk about the most, probably the longest here. And look, if you're looking to move to Florida, it's probably because of politics. And look, I get it. And the agents that I work with in Florida get it. And we want to help you get out of that blue city, help you get out of that blue state, right? Where you're not being served. Your representatives do not represent you. And you want to go somewhere where they do. And Florida is a really good option for that. Like I said, I move people all the time and nobody ever regrets ever getting the heck out of these cities, these states that are just not serving them, you know? And so, yeah, look, you got Ron DeSantis. Who wants to live? Is there any other governor in this country that's more popular? And here's another example. Florida being so welcoming, so open. Ron DeSantis just ran for president. All right. That's how well liked he is. Abbott down in Texas, is he running for president? No, I don't think so. He's fighting, he's fighting Democrats on the border over here because Democrats they're gunning for Texas, man. They have an in there and they're going to take it. Hey, sorry, y'all, but maybe try to be a little bit more welcoming to the millions and millions of Republican voters in California. Florida was, and now the number one reason to move to Florida is because of their politics. Okay. Number two, let's get to it. Number two, again, I'm coming from a California perspective. Us Californians, we're spoiled. We like nice weather. Yes, we do. And so number two, of course, is that Florida weather. If you're looking to move down there, and especially if you're from a northern state where you're shoveling yourself out of, your house 6 months out of the year, they call them snowbirds for a reason. It's nothing I'm sure you're not used to, but look, if you're coming from a nice place like California, where you're just used to good weather, you're used to sunshine. I wrote a little note here that Florida has 237 days of sunshine. Look, that's awesome. Like I know when I moved to Denver boasted like 300 days of sunshine. They don't tell you that it's not sunshine all day. Okay, it's not all day. You might get some storms here and there. But it's still nice. Get that vitamin D on you. Look, if we learned anything during COVID, again, I need to be careful what I say here. This is YouTube. When you walk into the COVID world, suddenly YouTube likes to start censoring and doing, hey, look, we know who they are, so I have to be careful. But look, we know vitamin D is important. Okay, it just is. Whether you take it in a pill or whether it's you're getting that sunshine on your face. It's just important. We know that people that had, were getting vitamin D, COVID, it really helped. Okay. It really helped. And so, but if, like I said, you like nice weather, and look, the nice weather allows you to do nice, fun things. You can go boating, you can go fishing, right? You can go on hikes, take your dog for a walk, take your kids out to the park. You can go enjoy life year round in Florida because the weather's so nice, and there's a lot of places that you cannot that you can't do that. So, and again, I keep looking down because, as always, I have my trusty notes here. Number three, this is a major one. Okay, look, this is a big reason again why so many people move there is no state income tax in Florida. Major, major draw. Now, Florida is not the only state with no state income tax, but look, it's an obvious reason why so many people and so many businesses are moving there. It's not just snowbirds. It's just not retirees, I'll say, moving to Florida anymore. That's why Florida is such a solid red state, because people with businesses and businesses, California has learned, when you push them out of your state, you realize, oh, wait, that was my tax revenue that I just pushed out of my blue state. Businesses make money. They hire people. They are massively, massively important to the economy. All right. And so, but to have no state income tax, even on residents, okay, just on your regular income tax. In California, look, California, the state income tax was over 13%. 13%. You're paying 13% to the state on top of your federal. All right. In California, it just went up. In California, top earners in California, the top earners, the top, whatever you want to call them, the top 1%ers, these horrible, horrible people that have big functioning businesses, they're paying like 90% of the taxes in the state. All right. The top 1% pays 90% of the tax. And these are the people that said, you know what? I can move my business out of state. They can go to Texas and Florida and Arizona, all these zero state income tax states. And that is a massive, massive tax break. Now, on the businesses, I know somebody's saying, I can hear the typing right now. They're saying business taxes are different than state income taxes. I get it. But look, people like me, small business owners like myself, we get taxed on the income, on the state income tax rate, on the individual rate. And so it's like Joe Rogan. I use the Joe Rogan example all the time. Joe Rogan got a $100 million deal, a Spotify deal. Decided, you know what? I'm not giving 13 million of that to Gavin Newsom. All right, he said he moved to Texas. He saved $13 million. If he had stayed and got another, now Spotify is looking to give him like a $200 million deal. He would have to pay 14.4% state income tax to the state. It is unbelievable, and it is why so many people have left, and it is why California is now in a $68 billion hole. All right, the first time in the history of the state, California now is in a budget deficit. Like Gavin Newsom, hey, look, he's a record breaker. Yeah, he can run when he runs for president. He can say, "I'm a record breaker. I'm a trendsetter. I am the first governor in California's history to have the population decrease. Right? I'm the first governor in the history of California that we lost a House seat, ladies and gentlemen." Right? I pushed so many businesses out of here. We now have a $68 billion budget deficit in California. In California, like any other state, California, they can't print money. Okay, the federal government can print money when they don't have it, and they do that a lot. But states can't. And so now Gavin is in a really tough spot where he has to cut $68 billion of budget. He has to fill that hole from somewhere. All right, and it's not looking pretty, okay? So yeah, but look, no state income tax. You give if you're a top income earner, you're giving yourself a 14% raise just by moving yourself to Florida. I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen, give me a break. I mean, that's why people are going there. That's why people are going there. But yeah, so those are three great reasons, pros of moving to Florida. Now, like anything, like always, there's always cons. We know it. It's like anything. Even a great, great red state like Florida is going to have its cons. One thing we know that because of the hurricanes, right, because of the weather things that the events they have, the homeowners insurance is the number one con. All right, no matter if you're coming from any other state, I heard this a lot, especially during COVID. So many people moved there. They were really shocked. They were happy to go there. They were happy that they actually got their offer accepted to buy a house, and they got their house, and then they realized, holy crap, these homeowners insurance rates are crazy. And look, yeah, it's crazy. It's a lot of hurricanes down there, so the natural disasters tend to bring a high cost. So it's just something to keep in mind. I'm not going to go into all the numbers and details and all that. I looked them up. I'm not going to make your eyes water and roll back in your head because it's so boring with the numbers, but I'll say it's pretty expensive. Okay. And it's something to consider, when you're looking at a house. And the realtors that I use, so, let me know. I'm going to connect you with a realtor there that's going to be able to help you understand what your homeowners insurance rates, could be. And it's something to factor into the total cost of your house. But look, if you're coming from California, you're coming from New York, you're getting a double digit increase in pay because you're not paying the state income tax. Then look, if you're paying $1,000 extra, a year, $80, $90 a month extra in homeowners insurance, I think you're still coming out ahead pretty good. All right. But just something to be aware of, that because of the climate down there, it's those homeowners insurance rates are going to be pretty high. All right. They're going to be pretty high. And that leads into number two, the number two con for Florida. I talked about the weather being a pro. Well, I'm talking about the weather being a con as well. All right. And just like I mentioned, look, you get those hurricanes, you get those tropical storms, super humid, right? California, we're spoiled. Even if you're from the Central Valley of California, where it gets hot in the summer and it can get a little humid, it ain't nothing. California humid ain't nothing like Southern humid. I was in Florida one time. I think it was in August, I think. It was late August. That's like a whole new level. Ooh, man, I'm actually just, I don't know, that humidity can get you in your lungs too, man. It's something. But yeah, the weather, look, like I mentioned, because the weather's so nice, you can do things year round outdoors. But in the summer, something to consider. If you want to have a little picnic in the park, you may have to deal with a thunderstorm in the afternoon. I know southern Florida, you get a lot of thunderstorms and things. Look, you just deal with it. You go inside. It's nice and air conditioned. Life isn't too bad. All right. But the weather can be something to consider, something that you may have to get used to if you're coming from maybe a climate up north where it doesn't get so hot. And now you're dealing with not only the heat, but you're dealing with humidity as well. And so, like I said, the weather in Florida, beautiful, but like I said, those hurricanes, they're nothing to mess around with. I mean, we saw what happened, in Fort Myers here recently. It's pretty sad. Yeah, you know what happened. These hurricanes, they can track them as best they can, but sometimes, like I said, what happened to Fort Myers, that hurricane took a different turn and caught them off guard, and a lot of people weren't prepared, and it did a lot of damage. And so, I don't know. I'm California. I'm spoiled. I'll take an earthquake any day. We can have that earthquake, hurricane, a tornado debate. I'll take an earthquake any day of the year. Y'all can have your hurricanes and tornadoes. But hey, you know what? Maybe someday I'll move my bones to Florida. I'm not against it. No, I'm all for it. I'll deal with a hurricane. At least it's coming, right? You can say, hey, a hurricane coming. Hey, I'm gonna pack my stuff and I'm gonna get the heck out of Dodge. A good excuse to go on vacation if you're lucky enough to do that. All right, look, let's get to it. We got to wrap this video up. I'm rambling on like always. Number three, again, something we learned during COVID. Floridians are very well aware of this, is that Florida is no longer, I'll say, an affordable place to go buy a home. Florida is pretty expensive now. Again, during COVID, so many people moved there. Prices of housing really went up. I read earlier in the last 5 years, so even going before COVID, in the last 5 years, home prices in Florida have jumped over 70%. And that was as of last year. That was as of 2023. So to have a 70+% increase in home prices in 5 years, man, that can leave a lot of people what I would call maybe flat-footed. 5 years ago, you were thinking, hey, you can save up, maybe $10,000, $20,000, a down payment for a house. And just within a few years, you find yourself saying, holy smokes, man, that $20,000 down payment is now, a $60,000 down payment. And so again, I know I got off track there a little bit on the third con, being that it's expensive. Yeah, it's expensive. But man, we talk all the time. Why are things expensive? You know why? Because they're worth it. That's why. In Florida, I think personally, when you have Ron DeSantis, your governor, you have little Marco, that poor guy. I feel bad for Marco Rubio. Man, he's a great senator. He's never, ever going to live down little Marco. You got Rick Scott, right? I mean, he's, we won't get into that. You know what else I wrote? Just to get into the politics here before, you click off my video. There's 28 House seats in Florida. 20 of them are Republicans. All right. Only 8 House seats are Democrats. You are a solid ass red state, Florida. You should be proud of that. Although you do have Debbie was it Wasserman Schultz? I think Rush here. Remember Limbaugh used to call her like Debbie Blabbermouth Schultz or something. Those are the good old days. Hey, shout out to Maha Rushy right here, ladies and gentlemen. Former Florida resident. He loved living in Florida. Darn right he sure did. And you know what? And I'm gonna throw this out there. I'm gonna put this out into the world because they say sometimes you have to manifest things that happen. You know, one of my goals with Red State Relocate, not only to help every single person in this country that owns a home, wants to buy a home, I want to help them do that. But you know what? Really, like that real goal that's out there for me. Someday, this business that I'm building here is going to be so valuable to you and to everybody in this country that see this guy right here. I'm going to buy his house in Florida. That's right. My goal, if I could do this right, I'm going to buy Rush Limbaugh's house someday. That's going to be it. That's going to be it, man. And I'm going to run Red State Relocate out of the home of Maharashi. That's right. So Florida, ladies and gentlemen, man, awesome place. You got good politics. You got good weather. You got no state income tax. You know, you got some hurricanes and things. Yeah. All right. And we won't even talk about the alligators and the snakes. I'm not even talking about the critters. All right. Yeah. Put those as some cons right there. Insurance, expensive. Yeah. But you know what? There's a reason that so many people are moving to Florida. Like I said, it's because it's absolutely, positively worth it, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to throw that video to Texas up right now. I gave him the business a little bit. I gave him a little bit of a spanking. And anyways, I'll see you all in the next video. All right, take care now.